everyone, welcome to this channel. This is Amy. For those who don't know, I'm an investment banker in San Francisco, California, and in this video I'm going to tell you the top 10 shortcuts / useful things to know in PowerPoint and Excel that I use on a daily basis. So full disclaimer, I don't expect those who just happen to come upon this video to actually memorize all these shortcuts and what I'm about to tell you. Because if I were in your position and if you were someone who's about to start the job or just wants to anticipate what's going on or just wants to know, if I were in your position, I would not memorize anything. When I was about to start my internship in investment banking after my junior year of college, I also was frantically trying to think if I need to memorize all these shortcuts and what I'm gonna do, because I had a MacBook, not a PC. But in the end, I realized I was just lazy. And in the end, when you learn on the job, it's easier for you to memorize them anyway, because you will be using them 24/7. So take it as you will, but this video, I hope to help you to just know that these shortcuts exist and that these functions exist that you can leverage later on. You do not need to memorize any of this before the job. It's just good to know that you can in the future have these tips at your fingertips. So let's start. Also keep in mind that these shortcuts are all applicable to PCs. I'm not sure about MacBook situations because I'm assuming on the job that they will give you your own work laptop, and usually those work laptops are using PCs instead of MacBooks. So let's just get started in no particular order of importance because I use all of these functions daily. Number one shortcut is F12. So it's just like a button on the PC. You just press F12, and essentially what that does is it just saves as. So in PowerPoints or in Excels or whatever you are working on, or this even applies to Word documents, you want to create new versions of it when your senior banker or whoever's working with you is going oh, can you help configure or help turn these comments in PowerPoint or Excel, and you want to keep the original files just in case you mess up in a future file. So you always want to version up, as we say. So we go from V2 to V34, and that's a true story because we have so many different versions, and we just want to keep all the other files as backup just in case something happens. So I use F12 a lot, which is just save as. So I just save the document as a new document, I rename it, I go from V1 to V2, version 1 to version 2, and then I just click enter, and then I just get my new version, and I can edit on that new version instead of the original file, just in case. And by the way, I have my laptop here just so I don't forget to tell you anything, so that's just me looking down. So number two is Format Painter. So Format Painter is something, I don't know if there probably is a shortcut out somewhere, but I like to just click it because I can just see it really clearly on my desktop. What it does is that, let's say you have a font that's in blue in 12 font size Calibri, and you have another font that's 16 whatever, and you want to change it to that 12 font size, the standard size. So what you do is that you don't need to manually select the 16 font, whatever text you have, and then change everything to 12 to this color to this new font. What you can do is that you highlight the original, the 12 point, the standard text you have. You press Format Painter, and then you highlight back. What it does essentially is just it copies and pastes the format. So it's really convenient because, for example, I had to change some of our pictures to black and white, and I was but I only have the template, so I didn't know how they originally did it, if there's anything if there's a change in capacity or all the details like that. But I have the original picture that is black and white that I want to copy over to a new picture, for example. So what I did is that I just clicked that picture, I press Format Painter, and I press the color colored picture, and then that colored picture immediately just turned into like that gray, black and white effect that I wanted to. So that's number 2. So number 3 is, I don't even think I need to say it. I'm assuming most people who are watching this know just in general about copying and pasting. So what copying and pasting is just copy and pasting, which is Control C, copy, to Control V. I want to mention number 4, which is copying, or not copying. Number 4, which is cutting and pasting. So essentially what that does is that usually when you copy and paste simply, you have, for example, you have A, you just want to copy A, paste it, and then there's 2 A's, right? But what cut does is that after you cut A and you press paste, that original A, wherever it is, it disappears. So it's very convenient when you want to move things around and you want to save time. You don't want to go back and delete the original thing you copied over. Now we're moving on to Excel specific shortcuts. So we just went, the first 4, they were all both PowerPoint and Excel. You can use it together, I believe. And for number 5 and 6, I want to tell you that these are only specific to Excel. So the first thing is, this essentially also copying over formulas. If you want to copy a formula all the way like to the end of the row or to the end of a column, you don't want to use your mouse and drag it, for example, then you can use Control plus R for right or Control plus D for down. So these are just quick ones that you can use when you're also just trying to like copy the formula over either across the row or across the column, and it's pretty quick. So number 6 of all the shortcuts that I've told you about, paste special. So I use this shortcut all the time, which is Alt plus E plus S plus whatever pop-up box you want. Like it can be at the end plus V or plus T that I use a lot. And what it essentially does is that you can choose to only copy over the values of the cells you want to copy over, or you can only copy over the format. There's so many different choices you can make, but I just use it all the time because a lot of times I only want to copy over the values of different cells instead of like everything. So that is also a super usable, or I use it all the time. So just hope you remember paste special is what it's called. In addition, this isn't a shortcut, but just like a useful thing to know is that in Excel or in things that you need given from the company, there might be like different charts you want to edit. Feel free to always, like in your free time or not, in your free time when you're working, like play around with like graphs that they give you, just so you can know like when the times come, they would go like, can you like maybe move the graph like this? Or can you like change the axis so it looks like that? Like just very random requests, and they don't tell you how to do it. So a lot of times I would just Google, or I would just like play around with all the different like selections I can when I'm pressing the charts. So just to save time, maybe like when you're free during work, you could just play around with graphs. So the next time someone tells you to like change like a tiny detail of the graph, you kind of know how to do it. So the next 4 things I want to share with you are PowerPoint specific. These 4, I'm not telling you the shortcut because I personally don't even know the shortcut. I just like clicking for some reason. And when I'm not in the time crunch, I'm still like click, click, click because I enjoy it. So these 4 things are useful things that are useful functions in PowerPoint that you can use, and you should know that you can use them. So the first thing is aligning things. So lots of times you're creating rows, or you're creating tables, you're creating different things, you're putting logos together. Everyone wants them to look pretty. So you want to, for example, if you have 5 logos and you want to put them in alphabetical order, and you want to like make sure they're all on the same line, maybe you're doing like 3 on top and 2 on bottom, and you want them to all like space out evenly. There's like an align function in PowerPoint that you can select all of them, and you can line in the middle, You can have things that align center-wise. You can have the spaces between, for example, 3 logos to be exactly the same. That's called like, you can align and then you can distribute the space horizontally, or you can do vertically. So there are a lot of things that go with just aligning things in general in PowerPoint. And I benefited a lot from my sister telling me how to do it, because if she didn't tell me there was this function in PowerPoint, I would literally be using my mouse and then just like my eyes and trying to like figure out if all the logos are on the same line or they're all centered. So please, I really hope you use or you know this function. So that's why I'm like putting it here, because it's super useful. And the other thing is also grouping. So this goes along with aligning things. You can find all these functions on the Home tab in PowerPoint. So what group does is, well, it literally just groups the things you select. And by doing that, for example, you have like a 3, like I said, 5 logos, you have 3 on top, 2 on bottom. Let's say they're all spaced correctly. They're like the 3 logos on top are spaced correctly, they're all aligned, the 2 on the bottom, they're all aligned. How do you get them both to center, right? Because it's 3 and 2. So what you do is, for example, you could group the top 3 logos and you could group the bottom 2 logos. And then, because they're 2 groups now, you can select both groups and then you can line the center. So there are just like a lot of little things that go into making a slide pretty that we conform to. So those are just a few things that I use a lot just for the sake of, for example, logos. So let's see. So number 3 in PowerPoint that I was talking is picture, and then you press set transparent color. So what I'm talking about is that when you want to copy over like a new logo that like someone wants to add, and you find that on Google or in Google Images that the logo that you're looking for, it has like only a white background. Like they're not giving you like a logo with the transparent background. But now you know, if you copy and paste that logo into PowerPoint, you can actually set the white background as a transparent color yourself. So the last useful thing to know in PowerPoint is cropping formats. So all of these things, they mostly pertain to like logos that I'm talking about, because I've dealt with many logos. So for cropping, or in case you want to crop any pictures in PowerPoint, it's actually pretty fast if you press Ctrl while you're cropping it. So what pressing Ctrl then cropping it does is that when you crop like the right upper, or to you it's the left, whatever, for me the right upper corner, if you're like cropping it and shifting it inward, if you press Ctrl at the same time, the bottom like opposite corner also shifts at the same time. So when you're cropping, it goes like this. I hope that's apparent. Feel free to like try this on your own for fun, and so you understand what I'm talking about. It's just something quick for you to maybe try out yourself and see if it actually is even helpful, because sometimes you still have to manually like shift the margins a bit for your liking. So those are the 10 useful things to know in PowerPoint and Excel that I use daily on the job. So feel free to let me know if this video was helpful or not, and if you think that I should cover anything else that you're interested in. I would be really happy to hear all your ideas. Thank you so much for watching. Feel free to like, comment, subscribe, the usual, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye.